Hello, welcome. It's Sarah Dallal. It's really good to be here. You always start your week with me, and that's how you know the week's going to start off really well, just letting you know, not to be biased or anything. But I'm Sarah Dallal. It's Monday, and I'm joined by the legendary Kevin Logan. How are you?
Is that the new thing? Is that you have to do that to be a leftist? I
That,
think, isn't
yeah, it's when you're trying to waft something, not farts.
it? Oh, you made that infinitely worse. Oh,
I
brilliant.
did. Why did
Oh,
I?
that's
Oh,
glorious.
guys, I'm
No,
not okay today.
you could have
Terrible.
said like weed smoke. It would have been cool or
It would
something.
have been so much cooler, but that just doesn't do good for my brain. So anyway, I'm really excited to have you, Kevin. Really, really excited.
Mhm.
So yeah, let's tell you what's coming up on tonight's show. Zionists are triggered over Palestinian state recognition. Right wing pushes misinformation on recent social media arrest, and the establishment are done with McSweeney. As ever, though, if you're not already a subscriber, then hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Stay up to date. Like this stream, and if you support these topics, it really helps the algo. But yeah, get comments in so we can also respond to them later. But on to our first story. The UK government now recognises the state of Palestine. And this follows a pledge made in July. If Israel did not agree to a ceasefire and allow a sustained flow of aid into Gaza, Britain would push for Palestinian statehood at the UN General Assembly. Here's what Starmer had to say.
In the face of the growing horror in the Middle East, we are acting to keep alive the possibility of peace and a two-state solution. That means a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable Palestinian state. At the moment, we have neither. Ordinary people, Israeli and Palestinian, deserve to live in peace, to try to rebuild their lives free from violence and suffering. That's what the British people desperately want to see. Yet, almost 2 years after the barbaric attacks of October the 7th, hostages are still held by the terrorists of Hamas. Recent images show the hostages suffering and emaciated. Hamas even refuse to release all the bodies of the dead. I have met British families of the hostages. I see the torture that they endure each and every day. Pain that strikes deep in people's hearts across Israel and here in the United Kingdom. The hostages must be released immediately, and we will keep fighting to bring them home. Let's be frank. Hamas is a brutal terror organization. Our call for a genuine two-state solution
Well, the videos aren't
is the
playing for
exact
me.
opposite of their hateful vision. So we are clear. This solution is not a reward for Hamas because it means Hamas can have no future, no
I don't know what
role
I'm
in
on.
government, no role in
Am I on?
security.
Oh, okay, I'm on. Sorry. There's some reason, something wrong with the platform today. I can't seem to see when the video stops. But finally, Sama, he says this after there is a death toll in Gaza that has far exceeded 65,000. The Gaza crisis has deepened with continuing Israeli bombardments and a near total blockade causing mass starvation and displacement. Ministers say the situation has quote unquote deteriorated significantly in recent weeks, and they are alarmed by new reports that Israel plans to accelerate West Bank settlements, moves that could shatter any hope of a two-state solution. I don't know why they're alarmed by that. It's very much, in Israeli interest to do something like that. The announcement came in sharply. Sorry, let me start again. The announcement will come in a sharply different tone from the US and Israel. Washington has privately warned Britain against recognizing Palestine, with the move being said to spark a diplomatic row, with the US claiming that it rewards Hamas and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemning it as appeasement towards jihadist terrorists. The UK are not the only ones, though. Canada also recognised the state of Palestine. and Australia too, with a statement from Anthony Albanese saying that as of Sunday, the 21st of September 2025, the Commonwealth of Australia formally recognises the independent and sovereign state of Palestine. This hasn't been very well received by some people, with this sorry excuse of a so called political commentator saying, Today, Keir Starmer will reward Hamas for their horrific terrorist attack on October 7th by recognising Palestine as a state, a day of immense shame for our nation. He should be jailed for supporting a proscribed terrorist organisation. Utterly vile. Sorry. What's more vile? The fact that 65,000 Palestinian people have been killed because of a Zionist regime, or the fact that it's taken this long for Starmer and this UK government to recognise the state of Palestine? I'll tell you what I think is utterly disgusting. It's people like Lee Harris who commented what he did or tweeted what he did, who still, after the bombardment of Gaza, still tell Palestinians and people who support Palestinian sovereignty. What's actually vile is demanding silence on Palestinian rights whilst Israel expands illegal settlements every single day. A lot of you won't be shocked with what comes too. Many people seem to agree with Lee's stance. David J. Platt says, this is a leader of a representative democracy, not representing the will of the people. This is not democracy. It is dictatorship. The British people do not support this and we do not consent to it on our behalf. Know this, Keir Starmer does not represent the vast majority of the British people. Except that's where you're wrong, David J. Pratt. If you'd know how to read the polls, you'd know that this is what it says. These figures represent a limited swing away from recognition since June last year, at which point 47% of Britons supported statehood, whilst 12% opposed. A more recent poll in July this year put the figures at 45% and 14% respectively. Support is especially high amongst the Greens with 68%, Labour at 62%, and Lib Dem voters 60%. Tory voters tend to oppose recognising Palestinian statehood by 34 to 26, with the Reform UK voters more emphatically doing so by 45 to 17. No surprises there. Whilst there is great support for recognition, that's not true amongst all age group. This ranges from 2/3 for 18 to 24-year-olds, to about 65%, to roughly half of 25 to 49-year-olds, 47%, and 37 to 39% amongst the over 50 age groups. So Mr. Pratt was actually undemocratic is ignoring those voices and centering your unpopular opinion. What's actually undemocratic is pretending the 44% who support Palestinian recognition don't exist, whilst demanding silence as Israel continues to expand illegal settlements, bulldoze homes, and entrench apartheid. Recognizing Palestine as a state is not rewarding Hamas. That talking point is as lazy as it is dangerous. The JLC obviously disagreed with the UK stance, and this was their statement. Almost 2 years ago, as Jews around the world were celebrating the festival of Simchat Torah, I hope I'm saying that correctly, Hamas unleashed a wave of barbaric terror, murdering over 1,200 innocent men, women, and children, abducting 251. Since then, Britain's Jewish community has been subjected to record levels of anti-Semitism, directly fueled by the horrors of that day. Today, as we prepare to celebrate Rosh Hashanah, oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Someone slept during RE, it must have been me. The Jewish New Year, the UK government will formally recognise a Palestinian state. This is nothing short of a betrayal of the hostages and a reward for terrorism. It will make peace even more elusive. Lasting peace will only come when Hamas disarms and relinquishes power in Gaza, and when the Palestinians establish truly democratic institutions. And this, of course, was met with the Zionist himself, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, who obviously had something to say about it. His tweet was in response to John Swinney's open letter to welcome those coming from Gaza to Scotland. Stephen said, "Please stay where you are, where you belong. We don't want people who support beheading babies here." Oh, Stephen, you support genocide? Thanks, Tommy 10 Names, always giving us what we don't want to hear. First, Palestinian statehood is not a new idea that magically appeared after October 7th. The United Nations endorsed partition back in 1947. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s made a two-state solution the cornerstone of peace efforts. This is about the rights of a people who've been denied sovereignty for generations, long before Hamas even existed. Secondly, Hamas is not Palestine. Hamas is one faction governing Gaza, but there are millions of Palestinians in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem, in refugee camps, and across the world. To say recognizing Palestine is rewarding Hamas is, again, a lazy smear. Kevin, sorry, I waffled, but is it too little too late, like with Starmer? Do you think Starmer's recognition of Palestine is a genuine step my God, can I start again? A genuine step towards justice, or just symbolic politics to boost the state's credentials ahead of the UN, ahead of the UN?
Well, of course, it's too little, too late. Far too little, far too late from all of those countries involved. I wish I could take any of them seriously, but given that Canada have just banned kneecap for explicitly Zionist reasons, Australia they've had there was the Australian senator. Fatima Payman was banned from the Australian Labor Party for calling for the very policy that Anthony Albanese has just introduced. Brilliant. And Keir Starmer desperately didn't want to do this. And to this day, we are still flying reconnaissance flights for Israel over the occupied territories to give real on the ground, real time information to the Israelis to help further enhance their abilities to engage in genocide. The British government are still doing that today. So the idea that this is a government that gives a shit about the two-state solution, which, by the way, is impossible. Like, what two-state solution is there? There isn't a second state here. The West Bank is largely occupied by Israel and is increasingly being occupied by Israel, and the Gaza Strip functionally doesn't exist anymore. It's rubble. There's no state to be had here. It's ludicrous. Now, is it the right thing to do? Yes, but it was the right thing to do decades ago. The fact that you're doing it now is obviously meant to be red meat ahead of both the UN meeting and ahead of the Labour Party conference, which is going to be an absolute disaster. It's going to be a train wreck. I'm going to very much enjoy it. Whether it's the backbiting of the deputy prime minister, deputy leader race, or the factionalism between him and Streeting and Andy Burnham and whoever, it's going to be a cluster fudge, of which more later when we get to the McSweeney thing. Anyway, the Labour Party are in shambles, and this was basically a really cynical ploy on behalf of Keir Starmer, because Keir Starmer knew as soon as Jeffrey Epstein's one best friend left after the state visit that Keir Starmer invited him on, he was going to be asked why he employed best friend number 2 to be ambassador to the United States. So basically, in order to avoid questions of why do you like nonces so much, he went, Palestinian statehood, anyone? Hey, whoopah. It's embarrassing. Not only is it cynical, though, but also very, very tedious. We played that clip for you, right? Have you ever seen a man make a historic announcement and yet suck all of the importance and interest out of it? Like, he is a charisma vortex. He sucks in all charisma and interest and turns it into nothing. He is the antimatter of Riz. This guy leading us on the world stage is embarrassing. It's let alone the fact that he's got his hands so deep in the blood of the Palestinians that it is on my bucket list to see that man at The Hague one day.
Absolutely. You're so right. He's such a fake guy. I'm surprised he didn't say, let's release the sausages, because he's so fucking stupid. Oh, let me not be too rude. But it's true. Like, what do we hear nothing about? Like, we don't hear from the Labour government, from Starmer, about the daily expansion of illegal settlements. Like, say it how it is. Speak about the atrocities that are happening there. Like, entire Palestinian communities are being displaced. Gaza is literally under siege. It's being bombed to rubble. Famine is being used as a weapon of war. Like, people are hungry, and somehow that doesn't get called, like, quote unquote rewarding extremism. Like, I'm confused by that.
This is the thing. I understand why they don't want to call it genocide, because if they admit that it's genocide, then they have to reckon with the fact that they are complicit in that genocide and therefore deliver themselves to The Hague under international law, right? For processing for that, complicity and engagement in genocide. So it's self arse covering in essence. But ultimately, it's obvious that it is genocide to anyone with eyes to see and ears to hear. The intent is there, the action is there, and the outcome is there. It's genocide. The UN bodies have already opined on this. Leading genocide experts have opined on this. It's very, very blatant and obvious. And like you say, this really lazy Hasbro talking point of, this is a prize. This is you're rewarding terrorism. Well, I'm sorry. Firstly, to conflate Palestine with Hamas is ludicrous and racist and garbage. And secondly, what have the West been doing except rewarding terrorism when it has consistently allowed Israel to engage in the actions it has, not just for the last 2 years, but for the last 70 years? We have seen the systematic destruction of the Gaza Strip. We have seen the continued expansion of these illegal settlements in the West Bank, to the point where Bezalel Smotrich, a man that less than a month ago announced a new series of expansions with the quote with the intention of quote driving the final nail into the two-state solution, come out in response to the British government's announcement saying quote there will never be a Palestinian state. Direct quote from a member of the a leading member of the Israeli government. The Israeli government are a terrorist organization engaged in genocide, and we have been rewarding them endlessly.
You're absolutely right. And I'm so confused. Like the hypocrisy is staggering. Like call out the real extremists in this, you know? And this whole idea that by recognizing the state of Palestine, you're then rewarding Hamas. Like recognition isn't about Hamas, it's about the basic, undeniable truth that Palestinians are a people with the right to live in freedom. And I think pretending otherwise is a smear that's entirely designed to shut down that truth. And I think it gives Israel like this blank check to kind of carry on with occupation apartheid. So, and I think what's actually rewarding Hamas is leaving Palestinians stateless and hopeless. Like recognition of Palestine is supposed to be about hope. It's supposed to be about human rights. It's supposed to be about like an actual implementation of law. And I think if that offends anyone, like the Zionists on Twitter, then maybe the problem isn't with recognition; it's probably with your politics. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. To anyone who's offended by this, moved by the British government or anyone else, to accept the basic, reality that Palestine is a real thing and really exists and has statehood, good. I hope you're butthurt. Stay mad and cry more.
Exactly. And it kind of brings me on to my next question. Because some say recognition towards Hamas, but couldn't the opposite be true, that recognition undermines Hamas by showing Palestinians that there might be some diplomatic path forward?
Yeah, you have to allow them a kind of an off ramp, as it were, because essentially the whole reason that Hamas have gained in popularity since October the 7th is not because of October the 7th. I think most Palestinians didn't particularly like what they saw there because ultimately people don't enjoy seeing other people killed. They're not psychopaths, regardless of what Hasbro propaganda will tell you about them being, bloodthirsty monsters who behead babies and all this bullshit, right? Your average Palestinian has turned more towards Hamas because Hamas are the only organization seemingly on earth actually standing up for them in any way whatsoever. They're the only people delivering food to them that aren't gunning them down in rows. They're the only organization that seem not to be bombing them or actively engaged in trying to bomb them. If you put people in extreme situations, they will take extreme ways out. We've seen every situation of famine, every situation of civil war, every situation of economic depression. People go to extremes under extreme pressure. That's what happens. So what you need to do is relieve that pressure. What you need to do is show the people of Gaza and the people of the West Bank, the people of the world more generally, that you actually have an interest in international law and upholding it, and not just mealy mouthed nonsense in chasing that when it suits you. When it comes to things like either Syria or Ukraine or wherever, right? You can't pick and choose. It's either universal or it doesn't apply. Simple as that. And you have to give them a genuine stake in civic engagement, in peaceful civic engagement. Because if you don't, they'll go with violent civic engagement because they have to engage in some way, because we live in a society. You need power, you need food, you need electricity, you need life. And if you don't give people a peaceful way of obtaining those things, they will turn to violent means. That's obviously the case.
Exactly.
They talk about the way in which the Israeli people have been made more extreme by October the 7th. Think about that in terms of Gaza and the West Bank. 1,000,000 times over, because for the last 70 years they have been being genocided. They have been under occupation. They've been constantly harassed and killed. They've had their land taken from them. They've literally been burned out from their orange groves within the last few weeks. They're doing it right now. For every person you kill in Gaza, you create 10 more terrorists potentially. It's so obvious that that's what's happening. But again, that's sort of what the Zionists want, actually. Because the more terrorists they create, the more of a problem, quote unquote, they have to solve. By which he means killing them or displacing them or just generally taking their whole. The extremes need extremes to counteract and bounce off of. They can't exist in a vacuum. They just turn in on each other and collapse. So the Zionists need terrorists, quote unquote, to go after. And that's why they try and create more of them. This is a win-win as far as Zionists are concerned, as long as the West continues to just give them a blank check to do what they like, which they absolutely shouldn't.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. I guess my final question would be then, like, what do you think is the likely outcome after the UK has, recognized the state of Palestine? What do you think is going to happen next? Because like now, okay, finally you've come to your senses and have recognized that Palestine deserves sovereignty. Took a while, but what do you think is going to happen next?
Not a lot, ultimately.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the point. If it had any chance of actually affecting the situation, Zionists would not have allowed it to happen.
Hmm.
They'll obviously claim they're annoyed by this, but they realistically know that there's no outcome to this. There's no difference to this. The only country whose recognition of Palestine would actually matter would be the United States.
Yeah. And
And
I
they're
don't
not
think
going to
that's
do that
happening.
because, again, it's not going to happen. At least not in the foreseeable future. Maybe if the Democrats ever get a backbone, you never know. But we'll wait and see on that. I shan't be holding my breath because I do need oxygen. But so nothing's really going to happen there, and that's why the kind of empty threats from people like Netanyahu, who's intimated that they might do more land grabs in the West Bank in retaliation to this, as if they weren't already doing that, as if that wasn't already a part of the plan anyway. Whether we'd done that or not, they were going to be stealing land because that's what Zionism is all about. It's about control of land from the river to the river, from the Nile to the Euphrates, the Greater Israel Project. We know that's what it is. It's not very well hidden anymore.
It's not hidden. It's
No.
not hidden. And they haven't tried to hide their agendas. This is the thing. So the fact that it took this long, wild to me.
Literally,
Yeah.
they took the opportunity of the collapse of the Syrian government to go and steal
Yeah.
more of Syria.
Make it make sense. Make
because
it make
because that's
sense.
what they need to drive all the way to the Euphrates, which is Iraq. So they need to steal more land bit by bit every time they get the chance. We'll take a Golan Heights here. We'll take another chunk of Zone C of the West Bank and blah blah blah. They'll just
Mm.
have whatever the hell they want because they've got carte blanche to do whatever the hell they like. And all but this, if I can offer one crumb of comfort, it's for the future. Now, unfortunately, it doesn't help us in the medium to short term, but in the longer term, the generation of people coming through now, both millennials and Gen Z and younger, have seen nothing but Israel acting in genocidal, violent ways. So when they become the body politic, the main cohort of the body politic, I think Israel is going to find it next to impossible to continue to get absolute carte blanche support from Western governments because their electorates won't stand for it. Because the opinion of younger groups of people within the polis is overwhelmingly negative towards Israel because Israel has done nothing but negative action during the lifetimes of these people. So if the Palestinian people can hold on, hopefully, fingers crossed and all of that, possibly within 20 years, I think it's going to be impossible for Zionists to really have an absolute ironclad grip over the West. And that is about as good as I can make it. That's as
Mhm.
big a red pill or whatever, a happy pill that I can give to you. That's the hopium.
And all I can say is honestly, free Palestine, free Sudan, free the Congo from the shackles of greedy, power hungry fucks who don't deserve anything in this life or the next. I'm tired of seeing the suffering that I see every single day. I can only imagine how the people who are within that conflict feel. I can only imagine. But thank you, Kevin, for your analysis. Let's go on to our second story. So this clip has been making the rounds online. Let's have a look at it before I explain anything.
Okay, what was it?
Sorry, I don't like the camera. You can have a body cam. I can exhibit that to you. I just don't like the camera, really.
Okay, well, I'm doing this because this is my own house and I am telling
Right,
you why I'm
that's
doing.
fine.
So I just need to know why would she's basically viewed a post which is not an arrestable offence.
You just
Yeah.
that's been.
Okay.
It happened in May, and you're completely fine. The only thing is,
Yeah.
we need to seize the phone at this current moment.
Yeah.
I was gonna say to you, the phone needs to get seized from us, otherwise we will escalate this further. So,
But with a voluntary interview.
So have you seized anyone else? Is she the only child you're
with the
picking on?
voluntary interview, you'd be able to come
Have
over
you
with
spoken
your
to
daughter
anyone
and the
else?
solicitor,
No,
but
we'll
there's
we'll
no
come to the
arrest.
station
do,
now.
do you mind letting her finish her sentence before?
Yeah.
It does have to get further escalation, unfortunately.
That's fine. We'll come to the
No,
station
because
now.
you're not under-
the phone isn't seized right now, and we're not able to basically get the phone. We'd have to escalate this further,
Yeah.
which means your daughter will get arrested.
For what?
And
Viewing a social media post? Is that
you need to go with that in order to
No, absolutely not.
What should we do to
No.
prevent destruction of
I
evidence?
don't know when the video is going to start.
I'm sorry.
Lisa.
That's fine. I would like you to leave now. I'd like you to leave.
This is why you're
Okay, I have nothing more to say to you. A social media post. I've got nothing more to say. I'd like you to leave. You've harassed this child enough. I'd like you to leave.
Lisa, that's no good.
Sorry, I actually don't know when the video stopped, so I tried to gauge. I was trying to count in my head, but I was clearly counting so wrong. I was on 25 seconds. It's now over. Anyway, the clip doing the rounds, shared by none other than Stephen Yaxley-Lennon. Again, he's just always coming into the picture, was being spun as police threatening to arrest a child in Walsall simply for viewing a social media post. But that's not quite right, is it? West Midlands police have come out and said flat out that's not what happened. This wasn't about a child simply watching a post. It was about a serious investigation into indecent messages being sent from a fake account. Here's what West Midlands police said. We are aware of reports that we are investigating a child for viewing a social media post. This is completely incorrect. We're investigating after a complaint from a member of the public that a fake social media account had been created in their name and had been used to send indecent messages. The offence being investigated is one of malicious communications, sending indecent or grossly offensive communication to cause distress or anxiety. The messages are of an incredibly serious nature and have caused serious concern for the victim. Officers made a number of attempts to speak to a suspect, a teenage girl, at her home address in Walsall earlier this month as part of the investigation. On the 13th of September, we spoke to the girl's mother at her home and explained we needed to speak to her daughter and recover her mobile phone as part of the investigation. The following day, the girl attended a police station for a voluntary interview and the investigation continues. We are aware of a brief and heavily edited video clip showing part of the 13th of September visit. The clip is misleading, and we've reviewed a 10-minute body-worn video recording showing the full exchange. The victim in this case had their identity stolen, and disgusting messages were being sent in their name. Officers were at that house to recover a phone and interview someone linked to the complaint. Nothing to do with arresting kids for likes or whatever fantasy Lennon or the likes of him are trying to push. My God. It's been a long day. What's worse is what Stephen Yaxley-Lennon says in this. To caption the video, he said, Starmer's regime send what appears to be Sharia police to threaten to take a lady's daughter into custody if she doesn't hand over her phone. The child's crime? Looking at a social media post, this is England 2025. Oh God, he's just like insufferable. Look at him sharing misinformation. It's just not like him, is it, to share misinformation? Just so unlike him. When will people wake up? This man doesn't ever want facts. He wants outrage. So he shares a 10-minute body cam video, which has been chopped up into 1 minute, slaps on the caption Sharia police, and suddenly you've got a culture war bonfire. No victim, no context, just Stephen inserting himself into someone else's trauma to stay relevant. And this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's been doing it for ages, injecting Islamophobia into a completely unrelated case. Because if you're Tommy 10 Names, everything is about Muslims, isn't it? Even when it's not. So no, this isn't England 2025 under Sharia law. It's England's 2025 under the same old Stephen Yaxley-Lennon scam. And the only regime here is the regime of disinformation that he continues to fester in. And Stephen Yaxley-Lennon is the one running it. Kevin, I think last time you were here, we spoke about him. I believe we did. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's doing it again.
Yeah, no, I feel like this is deja vu. Because so unsurprising is Mr. Tel Aviv Tommy, or whatever his name is this week, that he's... and by the way, you can still join the IDF, Tommy, any day you like. Go for it, chap. I hear they're having recruitment problems, and you said you wanted to defend Western society and all this stuff. Bleeding laugh. Anyway, it's so unsurprising because last time I was on, he was sharing a story of apparently an immigrant, a black man attacking some children in a park. It wasn't. It was their stepdad playing with children in the park. Because he's just a racist. Like, why would he put Sharia police? And not just like woke police or like the nanny state or something like that. Specifically Sharia police. Because there was a woman in a headdress who looked like she was probably a Muslim. And therefore, it's the Sharia police. Everything he does is so obviously nakedly racially charged. He's a constant liar. He does this. This is his entire grift. I mean, the thing he's probably most famous for in recent times was his defaming, his libel indeed, of Jamal Hijazi. the young Syrian boy in Huddersfield who was bullied. And Stephen Yakulina decided to pile on to that bullying by claiming he was the bully and, in fact, had sexually assaulted or harassed white girls at the school. Because, again, he had to point out the race of these people naturally. He's just a naked racist. That's all he is. That's his entire grift. And it's so like disgusting to me that the right wing talk about a two-tier policing system as if it's against them, because there is a two-tier policing system, but it's not against them, not by any stretch of the imagination. If it were against them, Tommy would have been in jail forever. He would never have been released at any point if that were the case, because he can be filmed punching a man to the ground in public in a train station and get away with it, completely scot-free. He can repeatedly break court orders in direct contempt of court multiple times and not get for it. The man is treated with kid gloves by the system, even though he causes nothing but trouble. He's nothing but a violent, racist lunatic and a grifter and lies about everything, up to and including that stupid march he did where he claimed 3 million people were there. I'm sorry, that would make it almost twice the size of the Iraq war protests. And I was there. I saw how massive they were. Yours was nothing like that. Don't lie about it. Also, if you don't want to get called racist, for people at that march, don't invite people like Valentina Gomez, one of the speakers at that particular rally, who on Twitter yesterday, 21 hours ago, in fact, referred to Mehdi Hassan as a, quote, dirty Muslim. It's still there. It's very much still on her channel, on her thing. I'm looking at it right this very second. If you don't want to be called a racist, stop associating yourself and your movement with such racism.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of I've got black friends. Black and brown people went to the march. No, the thing was racist and it was Islamophobic, and it's in like the entire framing was. And even him calling the woman who came to the door Sharia police, who's clearly in a hijab, is disgusting. Islamophobia for him always seems to be the thing that he wants to do, to utilize to cause some sort of culture war. And I don't know, I've not read his book Manifesto, and I wouldn't recommend anyone read it. Like, it's like 25 quid or something.
No, to be fair, don't feel bad about it because he can't have read it either.
Yeah, he definitely it's probably written in Comic Sans. I mean, Comic Sans is actually an accessible font, so let me not chat shit about it. I use Comic Sans. But I will say that in the book there is this quote that I read in an article that says something along the lines of that the political class has openly planned to replace the indigenous people in the UK, and this book is all about, kind of exposing that. And it's him just trying to spur up like this fear and this hatred by exerting like all this bigotry.
Well, it's interesting that he would refer to himself as part of that indigenous class, because last time I looked, Lennon is an Irish surname.
Yes, it is.
And as the son of an Irishman myself, I will just say it's fine, Tommy. You don't have to pretend to like fit in. You can actually just be like a normal person about it and not pretend that you can trace your family lineage back to 1066, because you definitely can't, mate.
It's true, but that whole entire book is rooted in the great replacement theory, like the thing that kind of puts white supremacists on top.
It's exactly the thing that was used against Irish people. They were referred to as Fenians, and they were all terrorists and evil, and weren't even really considered white. If you
white.
If you look at the depictions of them, they look like Mexicans or something in the kind of horrific cartoons of the day. They were treated incredibly poorly, and now the hunter has turned, or the gamekeeper has turned hunter, I suppose, in the form of Irish bigotry on behalf of British nationalism. What? Madness.
Fucking weird. It's so weird. And I'm tired of him trying to exert this idea that, Muslims are trying to overthrow this Judeo-Christian order. Like, please do not try and bring Christian nationalism or any of that over here. Like, it's tiring. And I think he needs to pack it in. But I do want to get onto the final story. But thank you, Kevin. But before I do, time for my sales pitch. If you're enjoying the stream, then please like and subscribe. Just to remind the viewers that we are 5 volunteers. We do not get paid for this work. But one day We would love for this to be our full-time job. So if you can, if it's feasible, then consider becoming a supporter by going to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support. And there you can become a monthly patron, or there is another link for our one-off donation. Of course, you can also become a YouTube member for just 99p, but don't put yourself out. Also, this weekend is the Labour conference, but something different is happening. A group of independent media are coming together to present your show. Many different organisations and individuals will be covering the conference with live shows. Both Curtis Daly and Callum Taylor will be in attendance. So yeah, definitely check that out. We'll broadcast the special Normal Island on Monday, the 29th of September, live from a studio in Liverpool. Yeah, let's. Oh my God, did anyone hear what Kevin said? He said, hopefully it goes better than your party. Too soon. Ouch. But for more information, go to yourshow.uk. How exciting, super exciting. But none of this would happen without you guys, to be honest. So you guys really contribute to the flourishing of Turn Left at the moment, and always have done. So thank you. On to our final story, though. One of the main architects of bringing Jeremy Corbyn's leadership is under fire. Many of you know who he is, and that's Morgan McSweeney, who many describe as the shadow prime minister. Back in February last year, it was revealed that Morgan McSweeney hid nearly £700,000 of donations through the think tank Labour Together and misled regulators to boost Starmer's rise. During the time, there had been a handful of outlets who reported the story, but it didn't get major attention until now. Recent media reports have now suddenly jumped nearly the 2-year-old expose after a book titled The Fraud, Keir Starmer, Morgan McSweeney and the Crisis of British Democracy, which draws on Labour Party files, including some never seen by the public, which exposes the behind-the-scenes strategies and deceptions that helped Keir Starmer to Downing Street. In extracts of The Fraud seen by The Times, the author Paul Holden asked whether the Commission investigation was made aware of emails and a phone call between McSweeney and the Commission in late 2017 and early 2018. Freedom of Information requests revealed that Commission staff explicitly told McSweeney in 2017 that the group must declare donations within 30 days. The book has already prompted the resignation of Paul Ovenden, the Prime Minister's Director of Political Strategy, over crude remarks made about Diane Abbott in 2017. Now, for many of us, we have known about this story about Labour Together and the undermining of Jeremy Corbyn for a long, long time. Yet, at the time, the media were quiet. These things didn't matter. Many journalists knew a lot about the behind-the-scenes scandals that were eventually revealed in the Labour files. Yet, it's very convenient that it's being discussed now that this Labour government is widely disliked. The media would have done its job properly had they reported these facts back in 2017 when it mattered. Kevin, why do you think the media have suddenly taken an interest in this story? Do you think it's because the establishment is already finished with Keir Starmer and Morgan McSweeney?
Yeah, absolutely, yes. What the establishment have always required, whether it be from their handled leadership in the Conservative Party or their handled leadership in the Labour Party, is a reasonable salesperson who is popular enough that they can get away with doing the bidding of capital as if they're doing the bidding of the British people. And he was the right man for the right position, given that even though it was a loveless majority, he did get a majority a year ago. And because he had no plan for government, and no charisma and no charm, and frankly is just one of the most dislikable people ever to hold that office, and of course is engaging in a genocide, etc., etc. He's now about as popular as getting rabies or something. He's absolutely hole below the waterline. He is soiled goods, and they know that, and so there's blood in the water. And they can sense it, and the sharks are circling. And that you can always tell with the British media because they are ruthless, evil, self-absorbed bastards, almost to a person, all of them. And so they sense that the Labour Together project is no more. It is not long for this world, and that Keir Starmer will be gone by probably at the very latest this time next year. And so he and the actual prime ministers, which is Morgan McSweeney and the withered corpse, otherwise known as Pat McFadden, are the actual sort of shadow government behind the scenes, because Keir Starmer is just a puppet that Labour Together have been using as their mouthpiece. They're not long for this world, politically speaking. And so, the British establishment to cast them aside and to try and get another reasonable, vaguely popular person, whether it be Wes Streeting or Andy Burnham or whoever, to do the bidding of capital in the halls of Downing Street. And so, yeah, they're going to come for him. Even having sat on this information, they've now all of a sudden gained a conscience and are telling the British public so they can make an informed decision. It's the same old, same old. If the British press had given a damn about probity and truth and informing the public so as to make the best political choice on behalf of the nation, the Labour files would not have been necessary, let alone the fact that they were buried by the British press. The British establishment knew that Jeremy Corbyn was something of a threat, and so he had to be dealt with. And they got their man in, and it's been an absolute disaster. But not for the people that matter. The people that matter have gotten richer. Everyone else has been completely shafted.
Yeah, and I guess it's not just about one aid, is it? Like it is, it's about the hypocrisy of Starmer's Labour. Like it's been hypocrisy after hypocrisy, and the whole thing is just laughable to watch. Like this is a man, Starmer, I'm talking about here, who branded himself as Mr. Integrity, as like I'm here to fix politics and I'm here for the people, like with his nasal condition, but like after all the chaos of the Tories, and yet here we are dealing with his most powerful lieutenant accused of playing the same dark money games that we've come to expect from a Tory government. I think Labour just want to look squeaky clean as much as possible, but the irony is that they never can and they never will and they never could, because you've got all of these weird donations being funneled, like, or not being declared properly through these I don't know, shadowy think tanks. Like, I don't know, it's fucking weird. Like, so yeah, I would say that the Tories are hypocrites for clutching their pearls, like they've got the Russian donors and whatever. But Labour, like, you're a problem. It's a problem.
It's corruption upon corruption. And it goes right back to the very earliest opportunity they had to do this corruption, because, of course, there are spending rules and donation rules during the course of an election, up until the last week of that election, by which time it's basically too late for them to spend the money on the election. So you can basically accept donations from anywhere. And the Labour Party got a donation randomly of £4 million, quite a lot of money, from a group called Quadrilla Capital, who are a private equity hedge fund who did very well out of their investment, I'm quite sure, in terms of government contracts or whatever, although I'm sure they went through the right channels, etc., etc. No legal claims being made by me. Just, it seems a little bit iffy. Everything from the fact that his wife got her dresses paid for by private money, by Lord Ali paying for his glasses and his Arsenal tickets to get access into Downing Street, all the rest of it. This has been one of the most thoroughly corrupt governments that's ever existed. And that's following probably financially, in terms of total amount, the most corrupt government in British history. Because the Tories, they swang for the fences on this. They went, we're not just doing small level corruption. We're going to do like 200 million quid's worth of money pissed up the wall on PPE contracts and stuff. They went big. They went real big. Whereas this government have gone small but constant. It's across every aspect of government. It's just corruption, 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 all the way down. It's layer upon layer. It is very much the lasagna of financial impropriety on behalf of the government. You've got a health secretary with links to private healthcare, which frankly should have led to terms of service related direct action possibilities, let's say, in the streets. And you've got a British Prime Minister who is governing on behalf clearly of his donors and of his own sort of political class rather than the British people, who's broken every single policy claim that he made before the election, and especially those he made in trying to become the Labour leader, and has completely betrayed all of those things. This is genuinely, I think we can now say, more corrupt in totality, if not necessarily total amount of money stolen from the British people. But in terms of the completeness of the corruption, be it financial or ethical, given the concerns with, let's say, Jeffrey Epstein's yum-yum friend, this is the most corrupt government that's ever existed in British history.
You're absolutely right. And I guess I want to know about the future, because we've got many unnamed Labour MPs that think it's curtains for Starmer. But do you think he'll even make it to next May? And do you think it's the end of McSweeney too?
I think it has to be the end of McSweeney. I don't see how that realistically can continue. If anything, the thing that really made his reshuffle pointless was the fact that McSweeney wasn't moved or McFadden wasn't moved. These people were allowed to just be, and yet they're the real problem. Just moving the deck chairs on the Titanic doesn't really get rid of the massive hole in the side of the boat that's sinking it, you know? And that's essentially what he did. I think he'll have to get rid of McFadden. I think it's a little bit reminds me of the Alistair Campbell thing, that you're supposed to be behind the scenes. You're not supposed to be the story. You're supposed to be the one telling the story. And as soon as you become the headline, you essentially have to leave. It's like the kind of veil has been removed, the mask has been ripped away. You have to leave the stage at that point. And in terms of Starmer, I think a lot of people are being overly optimistic in saying that they think he gets to the next round of local elections, because look at the numbers. They're going in one direction, and they don't have much further to be able to go in that direction before they literally hit rock bottom and nobody at all likes him anymore. Like, even within his own party, he doesn't have a majority of people who think he's doing a good job. That's his own party members. Like, that's insane. The country hate him. He's about as hated now as Rishi Sunak was. He's nearly as hated as Liz Truss was, and she brought on political Armageddon and killed the Queen in a month. Like, for legal reasons, she didn't technically kill the Queen. The Queen just died accidentally. Honest, yeah.
I killed the Queen in a month. Don't kill me. That is funny. Oh my god, I'm gonna get cancelled with you, Kevin. We can't be hosting together ever again.
True.
I'm gonna get cancelled with you. I thought I was problematic. You're problematic. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I love it. But no, I'll leave it there. That was a really, really great analysis. We'll head to our comments. Chris.
Sorry. Hello, everybody. Hello, viewers. Really good show. I love how you now, and this happens behind the scenes. You just call me Curtis because I'm from Bristol, and you seem to be fascinated with my accent.
I love,
even though I don't have a strong Bristolian accent, but you know.
Come on, you sound like you've got a parrot on your shoulder. What are you talking about? Have you got an eye patch? Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't actually have an eye patch, but if you want to send me one in the post, I guess you know. No. Anyway,
I'm literally delirious. Shut up. I want the comments.
Let's go to the comments because getting delirious. Okay, to start with, Becca A says 65,000 plus since the 7th of October. Many before, and an underestimate, I fear. Absolutely, by the way. I mean, the 65,000 is the conservative estimate. In my mind, it's hundreds of thousands.
I think it's more than that. It's way more than that. Like, it's just, I think for us to even, it's hard. It even feels just so disheartening to say that it's 65,000 when we know there are so many unnamed, nameless people who have been killed as a result of terrorists. So yeah, I don't know. It's heartbreaking.
And what would really help in terms of getting any kind of analysis of this is if they let anyone in,
right?
To actually check that without killing them.
Yeah,
you know, that would be good.
So that we could, but they don't want that because they know that the numbers are staggering. They know that.
Yeah, for the same reason that the Nazis didn't invite the international press into the gas chambers at Auschwitz. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a really easy rebuttal because obviously you'll face a lot of Zionist talking points. But honestly, the best rebuttal is, well, why don't you prove your claims by allowing journalists to go into Gaza? But you won't do that. Like, what is the reason why you're doing that? And they don't really have an answer to that.
No, they don't.
Have an answer to a lot of things. They just smear you as an anti-Semite or our own Ben McClain getting called a Hamas supporter on G News from Nana Akua, which was wild stuff.
Exactly. He's far more into Boko Haram, isn't he?
He's way more radical than that. Just a joke.
Yeah, for legal reasons, nobody connected with the Turn Left is a member of any terrorist organisation, let alone Palestine Action, the worst of them.
I support plasticine action.
Exactly. You'll never hear me say I support Palestine Action because that would be terrorism. So I would never say that. I would never do that.
You're just goading the fucking police there, aren't you? Stanley Beckett, Eric the Red. We'll call you Eric the Red. Hamas did not murder 1,200. JLC forgetting about the number of its own citizens killed by the IDF under the Hannibal Directive. I'm so glad you brought that up because everyone says the 7th of October was so horrific, right? We all disagree what Hamas did. But first of all, the 1,200 figure is a lie. It's around 700 of those who are innocent people. You got to think of the IDF personnel. And of course, the Hannibal Directive. Israel literally, they've done it for decades, right? On the 7th of October, they literally killed their own. But of course, the media really won't talk about that.
You're absolutely right, and you don't even have to ask yourself why they won't talk about that. It's painfully obvious, painstakingly obvious why they won't. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Natalie, regular
Good to
viewer,
see you again,
Good
Natalie.
to see you. Recognising the state doesn't mean endorsing the only government known to the masses. It just means the people have a home.
And why is that such like a wild concept for people to grasp, that sovereignty means that they no longer have to be displaced from a place that they call home, from a place that they should feel safe in? Like, why is seeking safety or wanting safety in a country that's yours so asinine to some people? Like,
Exactly, yeah. Accepting that a thing is real isn't the same as saying the government of that place are super awesome. Like, everyone accepts North Korea is a real thing. You don't have to endorse the government of North Korea to accept that it exists. The same with China or Britain or America or anywhere else. I hate Donald Trump. I don't therefore want to remove American statehood. Like, that's ridiculous. It's just accepting that it's a real thing, that there is a polity, a group of people called Palestinians that really exist and deserve a place of their own because, frankly, they've had one stolen from them already.
Exactly.
I mean, it's transparent, though. They are telling us what their views are, which is that recognising Palestine is recognising Hamas. And the implication here is that these people think that Palestinians are Hamas. They think they're all terrorists. That's why they say that, right?
Well, that's essentially what all Hasbro boils down to, is that these aren't really people.
Yeah.
We don't need to give them human rights because they're not really human. Is essentially, if you boil it down, that's the bare bones of it, which is the bare bones of all genocidal governments.
That's how it happens.
It's that we don't have to treat them humanely because they're not human.
That's
it. That's why I compare them to the Nazis, because they're using the exact same propaganda techniques and indeed many of the same murderous intent and murderous techniques as the Nazis did.
Facts.
I mean, Israeli blood is seen as more valuable than Palestinian blood. That is
I genuinely, this week, having seen the eulogies poured out over Charlie Kirk, we all saw that video, and obviously it was incredibly horrible seeing a person, even a person you don't like, in that situation, a grotesque thing. And then you think, I've seen 20 videos like that this month from Palestine. I saw a child with its guts hanging out. A dead child, burned with literally its intestines on the table.
But this is what I mean.
Charlie Kirk given a firework-laden Valhalla funeral, and the people of Palestine aren't even... could you name a dozen of them who have been killed?
They couldn't, and they don't even want to. This is the thing. And I told people, I was like, you're so utterly inconsistent when it comes to calling out violence, particularly, political violence. Like, not to say that what happened to Charlie Kirk was maybe political violence. I that could be contested, but I do think they are inconsistent when it comes to calling out political violence that happens anywhere. They didn't want to talk about the kids that got shot in Colorado. They don't want to talk about the kids being starved to death in Palestine. Like, you don't give a fuck. You just want to jump on TikTok and debate about Charlie Kirk. You don't care about. They have no values. They have no morals. Because if they did, if they saw half the shit we do, maybe they do see it, but they just lack compassion and empathy. I'm worried about humanity right now. Humanity scares me.
Yeah.
Mark something random. It's a long name. I like it. It's new. Israel.
Is he part of the Gloucestershire something random family? Yeah, I know them.
Is that a reference?
No, I'm pretending that that's his real fucking surname. It was a joke. Move on.
Oh, it went over my head.
Brilliant. Israel should be declared a terror. Israel should be declared a terror state. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, how is this debate? How is this debatable? It's not even a debate. Like, shit.
I mean, we should prescribe the IDF. I think that's to me that's a very moderate position. By the way, like, when obviously the framing of this entire discussion is, well, Hamas are terrorists. let's not forget that Israel committed a terrorist attack in, I believe it's Lebanon, when they set off beepers. It was Lebanon, yeah. And these weren't targeted attacks, despite the fact that the IDF was saying that. These were basically anyone who had a beeper. And I seen a video of one of them going off inside a supermarket, must have been about 3 foot away from a small girl. This is open air explosions in a supermarket or across the city. That is a literal terrorist attack. But there's no point defining terrorism in this country because we don't seem to know what it is. Holding up signs is terrorism, but killing, maiming, and ethnically cleansing Palestinian children is defense.
Well, I was about to say, you say you want the IDF to be prescribed as terrorists, but have they spray painted planes with paint? I don't think they have.
Well,
so clearly that's the only thing that is terrorism. Yeah.
So I didn't think that through. So I guess they shouldn't be.
Arrest him immediately.
He's there.
Michael says Sarah and Kev are an amazing duo.
No freaking way. I love it. We are.
Correct. We are. Yeah, no, that is just true. That's just a fact.
The truest statement.
Yeah, that's not an opinion. That's quite literally a fact. You could find that in a dictionary or somewhere.
Next to something random.
Yeah.
True.
From Gloucestershire. Andrina Websdale, her daughter had created a fake Facebook profile and was bullying people online. Of course, this is now the second story where Tommy Robinson and many other right-wing pundits have shared that. And you can see that video, by the way. It was so heavily clipped.
It was.
I was actually the victim of misinformation. I shared it and said, this is insane. But do you know what? As someone who actually cares about the truth, when I found out it was a load of rubbish, I deleted the tweet and then I spent the next hour basically commenting on everyone's post who posted it saying, this is actually incorrect. Here's the police statement. So according to Adrina, her daughter created a fake Facebook profile and was bullying people online. And the police wanted to just look at the phone to see what was going on.
Yeah. Which is absolutely fair enough, yeah.
I think this is a good comment, though, from Graham Sudworth. This story was wild. This police department is going to get in a load of trouble. Entering a home without a warrant is very legal. Tic Tac says the same. They had no warrant. They can't do this. So I think, aside from the misinformation, I think it's a salient point to make that the two police officers did go into the house.
They were invited in, and then the mother withdrew consent and then they left. I don't know the law. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's unlawful entry. If you're invited in by the police, you're invited in by the police. But if you then say, I don't actually want you here, then the police will just leave. And I do think that with the clip that accident put out, obviously it cuts out 90% of the context.
Yeah.
The full 10-minute video tells a very, very different story, that obviously there was no warrantless raid. It's just routine procedure that's been twisted into some culture war clickbait thing. And I think if anyone's actually in trouble, it's not the police here. It's actually the people pushing lies that smear officers and erase the victims in the process. I find that the whole conversation now is trying to debunk the misinformation that's been spread by the likes of Stephen and the many sheep that follow him, and not the police actually trying to deal with indecent messages that's harming.
Yeah, I did hear a person who seemed to know what they were talking about, but again, that's caveated. The online safety bill or act now is. I think does extend the police's power to do warrantless searches for malicious communications potentially. So I think they might be okay on this. Okay. But the real reason you shouldn't invite the police into your house is in case they're vampires.
I was expecting some sound legal advice, but actually,
so was I.
It's because they're vampires. Well, okay, so we couldn't see the video clip, and obviously a lot of context was taken out.
Yeah,
and if it is indeed true that under the Online Safety Act the police can do that, I think that's wrong, though. I don't think the police should be able to go.
Oh yeah, that's bullshit. As always, it's always whenever the government do anything in terms of police powers, it's always to expand at the expense of the freedoms of the people. Whether it's terrorism, meaning that if you're arrested under the Terrorism Act, you don't have the right to remain silent. That's taken from you. You have to answer the questions, otherwise it will be held against you, literally as an admission of guilt. That's
wild stuff.
Mad shit.
Mark Camilleri says, I'm British, and mate, seriously stop the calling us Dar right. I don't know who Dar right is. And all the other slurs. 10 years of ignorance now. Learn when to shut the F ... Okay. Oh, look, just say fuck. Come on, bro. Lucy Connolly is less racist. So I want to try and deconstruct this first. First of all,
less racist than what?
that was my first question.
Yeah.
Lucy Connolly is less racist, but less racist than what? And second of all, many of us have, and I'll speak for myself, right? The 150,000 people, between 110, 150,000 people that turned up to Tommy Robinson's far-right march, I've said on multiple occasions, I don't think that every single person was far-right. In fact, I shared a video of a woman who literally sounded like a lefty. She could have been at the anti-fascist march. There are a lot of people who were probably influenced by other people who went and thought, oh, this looks cool. But the march and the organisers were quintessentially far-right. You cannot deny that. So one, Mark, we're not calling you far-right if you're not far-right. And two, 10 years of ignorance, I mean, what does that refer to? Is this 10 years of left-wing ignorance? Well, even if you were to accept the paradigm that the Labour Party are left-wing, they're not. They've been in government for 1 year and the Conservatives were in government for 14 years. So I don't know if you're still watching, but I don't know what you mean by 10 years of ignorance. And no one, or most of us, haven't said that every single person is far-right. We're saying that the organisers are. And yes, there also was a big far-right presence at that march too.
Yeah, this honestly brings up so many more questions than answers. Comment,
right?
Honestly. I want to, like, it's almost like a philosophical piece, like a poem. Lucy Connolly is less racist, ... Discuss. Like, I mean, what does that, what are you talking about?
And also,
It's just nonsense.
Can I just say, not a single person here or anyone is called you Dar right.
This
We've
is-
said far right, not Dar right.
But this is it, though. I don't know. This is how I know that people don't have conversations in real life. Like, they are online and they clearly... He probably hasn't had a conversation with people online, but he's seen conversations where someone probably has called someone far right who isn't far right. And if I asked Mark now to define what far right is, or what encapsulates the far right, I don't think he would be able. Sorry, no make an assumption. I don't know if he might be able to do it. I just don't know if he will be able to do it, because I don't think people know what the far right actually encapsulates. But if you don't want to be called, Dar right, far right, then don't parrot far right rhetoric. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's like when people say, like, oh, you're going to call me racist. And I'm like, well, no one's going to call you racist unless you are a racist. If you sit at a table of racists, then you're probably racist. Like,
I also feel like if you're going to prerequisite that question with, oh, don't call me racist, I feel like you're already assuming that people are going to take you that way. Well, that's up to you.
Yeah, my experience is virtually every time anyone has said I'm not racist, they then go on to say something racist.
This is racist.
Yeah.
I'm not racist. I've got lots of black friends.
Like, exactly. Like, when someone comes up to me and says I'm not a racist, like, well, I didn't assume that you were. It'd be like weird, like, if someone came up to you and said I'm not a murderer. But why have you said that? Why? Like, I assume that people I meet aren't psychopaths, right? Until they prove me otherwise. You've just gone, I might be a psychopath. Red flags everywhere.
The thing is, though, look, I do think that some people on the left are overzealous with the term far right. I've seen.
I agree.
I've seen centre right people called it. I'm like, no, they're not far right. I mean, I've seen people call Keir Starmer like using
communist.
the no. Well, that's also stupid. But like, he's a Nazi and he's using the 14 words, right? I mean, you could say he's Nazi adjacent for supporting Israel, but that's an entirely different thing. But he's not like Nazi in this country. Anyway, the point I'm making is, yes, that people.
Well, no, it's not like the Nazis. The Nazis built roads. Yeah.
Well, he can't even do domestic policy.
Exactly.
And that, by the way, just that's a joke. That's not us endorsing fucking the Nazis' domestic policies.
Yeah.
Right. But you know what people are like online? Sometimes they take all of your words so literally. And comedy is illegal. Yeah. So yeah, having said that we can people can say far right too often, right? You've got the flip side where a lot of right wingers go, but you constantly say everyone's far right, and you think, well, actually, you think nothing's far right though. Like anyone slightly to the left of Hitler, they're like, that's not far right. And it's like, you need to understand that far-right forces are on the rise. Fascism is on the rise. There are just more far-right people in number. So what we have is a situation where a lot of people are probably calling people far-right fascists who might might not quite be far right or fascist, right? But the overwhelming majority of it is the fact that there's just more far right people. And a lot of those that say, we're not far right or they're not far right, I would say 7 times out of 10, you've kind of spouted far right or Nazi or fascist talking points.
Yeah, not just that, but they play around. One of their big shell games is to play around with the definitions of words. So,
Yes.
I love asking right wingers what they mean by the word woke.
Yeah,
Because you'll get a different answer each time, and B, you will never get an actual answer.
Exactly.
It's always some vague bullshit about what they teach them on campuses. Oh, well, what do they teach them? The wokeness. What does that mean? What does any of that mean? Please give me some concrete examples of things that you think are bad that are happening that shouldn't happen, and don't give me generic shit like immigrants exist, because that's what the fuck are you talking about?
It's true. I think you're a bit woke, Kevin.
I am. I'll put it. I am the CEO of the wokerati. Yeah.
Fact.
and I think this comment from Autumn Leaves feeds into this conversation. I'm happy to be called far left. I wish more people would call me that. All right, Autumn, you're far left. Hope that helps.
Far left.
But it's funny how much pussies exist in the far right in right wing circles, because when you say something that's far right, they go, "That's not far right. We're just right, not far right."
Oh
right.
my god! Oh my god!
Whereas when people call us far left, we go, yes, we are far left. Like,
Yeah,
we're not. Nothing offends us. They get so offended by the word far right, but then when people say that you're far left, I'm like, yes, I am on the radical left, absolutely. And it's like, why are you such pussies? Just accept the label.
I'm crying. Can you say it? What do they say?
Not far right, just right.
That's what they say. I kid you, I get so many comments like that on my videos.
It's so cringe, isn't it?
It's not far right, it's just right. And I'm like, no, it's wrong, and you're far right. Like, hilarious.
We have got a super chat from Rachel Atwood.
Thank you, Rachel.
Go hang out salami. I'm a lasagna hog. I think when you were talking about salami, lasagna, Rachel Atwood was like, "Thanks, you've made me hungry now."
Oh, okay. I see. Oh, okay. Right. I was surprised. I was like, "What the fuck is a lasagna hog?" Oh, they want to eat lasagna. Okay.
They're returning Jimmy Kimmel's show, by the way.
They are.
Yeah,
They were going to have to. You can't they're a big company, but $4 billion to lose in 2 days is a lot.
Yeah.
Of money.
Is that what they lost?
Yeah.
That's
People
funny.
started cancelling their subscriptions. They lost $4 billion in 2 days. No company's going to be able to sustain that.
Exactly.
Money talks.
Exactly. Literally, it does. And the right wing have been doing this. They've been winning because they're prepared to do dumb shit like, oh, a trans girl held a beer can in one thing. Therefore, we need to get rid of it. And all of a sudden, they start kowtowing to them. So it's about time that it's going to need to be the Liberals because they've got some fucking money. But the Liberals need to step up and actually start going, no, if you're going to start doing all of this evil shit, we're not going to patronise your companies until you start actually, doing basics. Because, look, it's not even as if what he said was bad. Look, he got one of the narratives. He got one of the narratives wrong about him being MAGA or whatever, right? But that's someone reacting without necessarily having all the information, which is not the end of the world. He didn't come out and take the piss out of the dead guy.
No.
It was fine, but that's too much in Trump world. That's too much.
It's ironic.
If you weren't doing state mandated voodoo rituals to bring him back from the dead, it wasn't enough.
And then the irony of saying Charlie Kirk got killed because of free speech, and then you're trying to silence free speech. It's just where are the free speech soldiers now?
But they never, the right wing never, ever cared about free speech. It's always been free speech for me, not for thee.
Well,
They've always been incredibly censorious. Even if you look back in history, whether it's fascist movements, governments, or even the Nazis, do you think they were in favour of free speech? No, they literally killed you based on your race. That is the biggest cancel culture in the world. It's like, we're not going to cancel for your opinions. We're going to kill you because of your race. You couldn't get more cancel culture than that.
Well, this is the thing. They're not anti-cancel culture. It's just they wanted to be the ones doing the cancelling.
Yeah.
That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Becca A, in response to the other comment about the guy about the right-wing stuff, Becca A says, and people tap on because of the title, then leave and don't realise turn left read comments at the end, which is the USP. Yeah, I think, when you'll get some people from a troll, whatever, and they'll come to the show or come to a video and leave a comment and leave. But it's funny that we will pull up right-wing comments or detractors anyway because it's fun. So I wish these people would actually stick around so they can listen to it. Rachel says, it's okay, you want American statehood to go away. We deserve it. Well, that's okay. I mean, is that based?
Well, this is the thing. You can't. You can only get rid of American statehood if you ever accepted it. And frankly, I think the Declaration of Independence is an illegitimate usurpation of His Royal Britannic Majesty's jurisdiction over America. Fact.
In other words, I think it's poo-poo pants.
Poo-poo pants.
True.
Sorry, Sarah. Becca says Queen La Antifa. I don't know who you're referring to, but are you referring to Sarah Dallal? Because I know Sarah would love that. I would
love that. I think that's a really good name. And you know what? I might make that my
you won't.
TikTok handle name. No, I'm going to. I'm no longer, because my things are butterfly. They're like, oh, butterfly. Now I need to be known as Queen Lantifa.
La Antifa. Let's go through some donations. Silver River FKA King. Just become a member. Welcome to Turn Left. We've also got Michael gifted a Turn Left membership, and the receiver was Leopard.
Meow.
Meow. That's not what a leopard does, Sarah. Kelly Marie Appleby received a membership from Michael as well. Natalie gifted 5 Turn Left memberships. What a comrade! Thank you.
It's good to have you back, Natalie. We noticed your presence was missing.
Yeah, we didn't see you for a while.
Okay.
So yeah, thoughts and love to you.
Yes.
But good to see you back. Okay, I think fuck it, I'm just gonna big myself up. Graham said, great political commentary from Curtis. This is what we subscribe for. No, that's not true. We subscribe for everyone here, not just me.
I subscribe for the pirate voice.
Gar! You are not a pirate. Gar!
Oh, God.
I love it. It's only because my accent's very, very mild. Because if I had a proper Brummie accent, I'd sound ridiculous taking the piss out of anyone else. Jesus.
I like a Brummie accent.
You're mental then. Because
said no one ever.
Literally, in polling was done on this, right? And you know, Birmingham finished bottom of the pile of the regional accents. And you know what beat us?
What?
Silence. The people polled preferred literally no noise to hearing a Brummie person speak.
That is funny.
Sure, that is the will of the people.
Well, exactly. We can't argue with it. You know, it's democracy. We just
I fucking vibe with that. I put silence above the Brummie accent too, but I hate the Bristolian accent. If I'm honest, I don't like it. When I go back to Bristol, when people online say go back home, I'm like, yeah, I go back to Bristol. And I hear the accent from everyone. I'm like, oh, fucking hell. I like it in Leeds, actually.
Too funny. You just need a boring accent like mine where people think you're middle class. So,
well, that's the thing. We also get accused of being middle class because part of us are probably slightly code switched as well without realising it.
Yeah, code switching's real.
To me, you just sound like kind of modern sort of London, I suppose.
Yeah, like people always either say, you know, you from Essex? Are you from London? I'm like, I'm not Essex. Like
Essex.
I'm in Essex with the girls.
Right, I think this is.
Anyway, sorry.
I couldn't believe it. When I went to Essex, I thought that was like a joke, right? But even the women's, they sound so harsh. That accent, it's like it's really aggressive. It's mad. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
Too funny. Oh my god, yeah, it's definitely time to wrap up. I know we're getting delirious. I know I am.
True.
Yeah. All right. I'll say goodbye and I hand it back over to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my god, Kevin, you're such a legend. Come on with me again, please. It's always great to have you. Yeah, we like the viewers have said it. You know, we're a great duo, so we need to stick with that. We are. But thank you so much, Kevin. That is all we have time for. Thank you to all of you as well. You guys have kept us company, have commented and have donated and just been present. It's just so wonderful to have you. So thank you to all of you who tuned in, and of course, Kevin for joining me tonight in his incredible analysis. Remember to like this stream, and if you're not a subscriber, then hit that button. If you want to see us grow, then you can head over to turnleftmedia.co.uk/support, and there is a link to our Patreon where you can support us monthly or follow the other link to a one-time contribution. Alternatively, you can become a YouTube member for just 99p. Anyways, thank you and see you next time.